elephants, pink coyotes. Oh, yeah. It's a good time, man.
Okay. But what about spiritual stuff? I don't want to see coyotes and elephants.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Oh, great. This is going to be a short podcast.
I don't know. I think, and obviously we don't tell people to do drugs so they can see spirits, but, we got that realm thing going on again. And that's why when you're in your sleep state and stuff like that, you actually can enter another realm. You're in another realm.
Yeah.
And this is where. So in a drug state, you could be leaving the reality that you're living in and being able to see something else going on around you because your mind is just working in a different way. I mean, we know that there's things that are here that we cannot see. You remember that movie with Roddy Piper?
Yeah.
He had that movie where if you had these special sunglasses on, you could see the difference between the aliens and the people.
Right.
Well, picture it the same way. If your mind is altered in a certain way, you suddenly are able to see something that is actually there, but you can't see when you're in your conscious because your conscious computes everything saying, nope, that's a human, and it's a blonde, blue-eyed female, about 50, whatever, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It just put everything into perspective. Now, you alter that a little bit, and you let your mind, your mind's kind of shut down, but now your mind's always working. Right. Even to people that say in their coma and stuff like that, they say, oh, the mind's still working. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that's why they say talk to them and do things. So now you're able to see something that's really there in a different realm, in a different time.
So do you think that our spirits and our souls don't need our mind or do need our mind to see that? I mean, are the drugs shutting our mind down, parts of our mind down so that we can see it? Or do you think...
Or waking others up.
Because, when we die, we're not taking our minds with us.
Well, you say soul. I think your soul is your mind. It's not like there's just a little part of your body that comes out. It's a soul.
So, because our brain functions all our physical aspects.
Our brain functions everything.
So, but not I don't think our brain would function spiritual stuff. Do you?
It functions everything.
Spiritual stuff, too?
Everything.
So, what are we going to do?
Huh?
When we die?
I don't know what you're
I'm not bringing my brain with me.
You haven't brought it with you so far, babes.
Stop. So bad. It's not true.
You function this long.
That's so wrong. You're terrible. I don't know how I walked into that one. I should have known. Ugh, terrible. But, so do you think that it dulls the physical senses so that we're open, or do you think it opens up a new part of the mind?
Well, that part of detail I don't know, but
I want to know. I want you to tell me.
Yes, okay, it opens and closes.
Okay, good. Well, we need to know.
Simultaneously.
It's facts. We need facts.
TV.
Well, I think because you hear about you hear a lot of people who see spiritual stuff turn to drugs to shut it off, and then you hear a lot of people who take drugs and then they start seeing spiritual stuff.
Well, the voodoo people do that kind of junk,
Well, yeah, a lot of those other cultures, they take stuff, inhale stuff, and then they see their totem spirits.
And how about sweat lodges?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just taking and you're...
altering your mind.
Or when you, spiritually, if you want to go biblically, praying and fasting. We know that the longer you fast, the more spiritual you wake up. And that's actually a fact. We've experienced it ourselves. So if you go on a 3 or 4 day fast, I'll tell you what, by the end of that fast, you're suddenly going to be...
You're seeing Jesus in your toast. Right?
Yes. Yes, Jesus in the toast. Don't touch that toast.
That's JC.
But you're suddenly enlightened by other things. You suddenly hear better. You sense other things better. You're more emotional. And so... that's all just factual information. Anybody that has done a total fast for like 3 or 4 days will tell you, it changes you.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. I never thought about that. Yeah. Well, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Yeah. There's other ways of doing it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you need to eat, so you can eat too. You don't want to stop eating. Well, Talk Supernatural says that I'm supposed to snort coke and not eat for 3 days. And I'm going to be able to contact my Aunt Mary. We're going to be sued. We
never said that. Oh, that's bad.
I'm going to be sued.
There's nothing wrong with praying and fasting, of course, and that's one way of enlightening yourself. But ultimately, what's going to happen is going to happen.
I've been into a cracker once, and it was the perfect shape of New Hampshire. It was awesome.
You told me this.
Yeah,
this ain't even a fake story. This is a real story.
And I lived in New Hampshire. It wasn't a coincidence. I kept that piece of cracker for like 3 years. It was so cool. Yeah. There's important stuff going on in my life.
Sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, next story. Story number 5.
Story number 5. One that Heidi can very strongly relate to.
Because she is married to someone who's mentally ill. And it's mental illness.
Mental illness. Mental illness.
Oh. That's all you got to do is throw in an accent, and we sound so much smarter.
Oui.
I can't do accents. Imagine that.
Imagine that. So.
I sound smart without it. But, okay, so here in our town that we live in, there was a 22-year-old girl who committed suicide.
I was born in a small town.
I just said a 22-year-old girl in our town committed suicide. And you are
born in a small
John
town.
Cougar.
Just Mellencamp.
Oh, just John. No, I'm just
Jamel.
So this girl, she's 22. She committed suicide. She jumped into the quarry. And that's only like...
What a rocky experience.
Oh, it's like a mile from our house.
What a stoner.
Are you...
What a hard place to be.
You're terrible.
Caught between a rock and a hard place.
I think you need a timeout. I'm going to cut the mic. You're just wrong. Are you done?
Yeah, it's just the quarry rocks, all the rock
I
jokes,
get it. Well, yeah, so it's like less than a mile from our house. The mom said that in the paper, she said she was a bright young girl, but she was struggling with some things that were going on in her head that most of us can't imagine. So it was stated that she suffered from depression, paranoia, and schizophrenic tendencies. And, she wasn't diagnosed with that. That's just what they say when they think something's wrong with you. So she's hearing voices all the time, and seeing things, and so no one's believing her. So she thinks she's going crazy. Cray. And she ends up committing suicide. So the girl calls her mom, guess what? 3:15 a.m. There's that 3 a.m. thing. And
very common.
People have listened to our past podcasts, that's the first sign of demonic influence.
Well, 3 a.m. It's true is that it's that time where you're in the complete darkness. It's before twilight. You're right there in the zone of nothingness.
In the Stargate.
I mean, really, what is in complete darkness? What exists that's worth anything? Nothing. Complete 100% darkness with no lights or nothing. Nothing. Because you can't see it. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Because there's no light.
It's void and without form.
If you don't have light, you've got darkness.
The Lord spoke and then there was light.
Is that in there? So,
good preachers add an A at all the words.
That's where the teenagers get it. Oh my God!
They're preaching their own way.
You took my perfume! Yeah. So this girl calls her mom at 3:15 in the morning.
That's
she's lost.
3:15.
She's confused. Her mom picks her up, brings her home, makes her go to bed just to chill out or whatever. And that's the last time she saw her. And she just jumped. So, that's the whole mental illness thing. Now, they could have given her, maybe if they would have diagnosed her, they could have given her drugs.
How long ago
but that
was
would
this?
Just a couple years ago, actually.
Yeah. Not even a couple years ago. I mean, schizophrenia. I don't know. I mean, the voices are probably very real.
Yeah. And
what
she's
part of
seeing
her
spirits,
brain,
too.
what is she seeing, what's gone on her past and her life that has allowed her to be tormented in such a way?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Doctors are so quick to say, oh, you need some drugs for this or that. It doesn't sound like she got any drugs, though.
No, she wasn't.
She didn't go to the doctor. She didn't get anything to even...
They said that she had tendencies, so she wasn't even diagnosed with anything.
Oh.
So I think maybe she went to her mom or told people, but they never took her to the doctor or whatever. And look what happened,
The devil wins that round.
Right. And that's
he
what
wins that one because it's like that's all he was really interested. There's really no chance for somebody, once they're gone, to do anything.
Yeah. I hate that. If I'm at a grocery store or whatever and I see somebody who's mentally ill, the first thing I do is I look at them because I can tell if something's with them or not. And it bothers me because they're just people who don't know anything about spiritual reality. They're going to treat them like something's physically wrong with them. It's like they need help and there's not enough people out there with answers.
They need a spiritual help.
Yeah.
And so many people... Well, what has happened to that, too, though? There's a lot of quacks out there who claim that they can help somebody spiritually or mentally through different things, and they're quacks.
Yeah.
They're not helping them. They want their money. They want to do a bunch of stupid stuff, and it's like, no, that's why people like us can come in, and some people don't want to even hear us. Because,
that's right.
Well, we've heard of your kind before. We know about your kind. It's like, well, yeah, what has happened?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with, I've talked about it with the Bible and God and all different things, and why people believe what they believe and do what they do, because they've been tainted by other forms of religion and different things, or their parents or grandparents, or how they've been raised, and now they look at Christianity, if you will, and God is some sort of horrible thing, because it's like, oh yeah, well, we know how you judge, we know how you do this, and I know how you made me feel, and it's like after a while they don't want nothing to do with it. They're
because
callous.
It becomes a blocker when it should be opening us up spiritually.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's part of the devil's plan too.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the devil can use good people to do bad things.
Yeah.
And have them not even really, mean everything that they've done or said to somebody. And the devil's like, that's all I needed. Just make that person feel guilty or bad about something, and they want to hear it no more.
Yeah.
And some people just don't want to hear truth anyways.
Right.
They don't want to hear that, okay, you're doing something wrong. No, we're not.
Right.
I feel I can do as I want.
Like
well, there you go. There's nothing you can help with someone who's closed-minded
prideful
to not doing anything. Yeah, right. Prideful to say, okay, that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, like, what was it, last year? We were contacting paranormal groups in our area and outlying areas. We said, we know what you do, you go investigate, but if you come across a situation where it's something demonic and you don't know how to handle it, call us, we'll help you out. We don't charge or anything, but we will offer our services. We know what we're doing in this area. And all but one, refused to take my emails, and this one met with me and we talked and everything, and the reason being was it just total coincidence, the week before I contacted them, there was a huge story going on in the Milwaukee area with paranormal investigators, and it was that, so there was a lady who was more west in Wisconsin here, and she was seeing shadows and hearing voices, and she was saying it was the devil or whatever. Because of her Christianity background, she was just relating to anything she understood.
Sure.
She was a mom, a wife, she had this normal life, professional woman, and she started for 3 years, she was suffering from this. And so they sought all different kinds of help, and then they went and got these paranormal investigators, and they really were more ghost hunters. So then they contacted a paranormal investigation group in Illinois who works with the supposed exorcist. And I don't know anything about any of these groups. I just know the story. And so these people drive to Wisconsin to help this lady. And I don't really know how long they helped her, what they did. But it was only a matter of weeks later, she committed suicide. And she wrote on the wall some kind of grim message or whatever, and it was really, really sad. And so they blamed it on the supposed exorcist. Now, when we tell people this is what we do, unfortunately, there's people out there who mess up, again, the validity of this.
Right.
So you got to really be careful of...
We do have to be careful, and so we can't
be judging and tell...
But that's where people got to be responsible. Like, if you know of somebody, let's say that's in that situation, and they need help. Well, what do you know about truth or helping somebody, so you know what to look for?
Yeah.
Or, if someone comes and say, well, it's real simple. We need to lay a foundation of salt around your home, and with that, we're going to burn some incense, and we're going to have a dagger out, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And if you have no knowledge of the word or what takes care of this, you're going to fall into that trap, and you're going to worsen the outcome.
Like we have. That's how we've learned
done it.
From
We've
all
been
our
there,
mistakes.
done it. We can talk because we've already screwed it up.
Yeah, and that's
I know
how
in my job with what I do as a contractor, I do just about everything. And people will say, well, where'd you learn this and where are you that? Unfortunately, a lot of it was trial and error. I do this. Okay, that's wrong. Check this out. View this. Look up this. Use common sense. And so sometimes life is trial and error.
Yeah.
You do things right. You do things wrong. But you got to learn from your mistakes. And there's so many people in this world that go through life every day. They never take the time to learn from their mistakes. Shouldn't we be perfect people by now? If we learn from everybody's mistakes, every generation, we should be absolutely perfect. And the reality of it is, the world is far worse now than it has ever been.
I agree.
So, I don't know.
We're worse. Probably because we think we know it all. So
No,
that's
you
why
don't.
we're... Yeah, totally true.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I agree with that. So, all right. But,